Guys, just got some new art in from the man, James Warhola. We'll take a look at this. I told you guys I have some GPK coming in. And this one came a day early, so we'll open this. Which is good because I will not be able to do a live stream until the end of next week. I'm going to be out of town. I'll be in Atlanta this weekend, and up until Wednesday I'll be back in Atlanta, which is where I'm from. But me and the wife are doing a little mini vacation. So we're going to look at the art that's in here. This is just in from James Warhola. I'm very excited to get this in. And then today's topic after that is envy. Envy is one of the biggest problems in the Garbage Pail Kid hobby. And I'll be telling you what envy is and how it manifests in the Garbage Pail Kids hobby. But first things first, we got to see what this is. First of all, I'm noticing just how big this box is. Doesn't mean there's a lot of stuff in there, but it's always cool to get something in from James Warhola. He's a really good at packaging. I want to set you down just a minute. He's good at packaging up art. Man, it just always feels like Christmas when you get something in from him, specifically. Now, I'm not buying much art. In fact, I'm almost done. I just completed my last deal with Tom Bunk, and I have no plans to ever buy any more art from him. And all the new guys, I think I'm done buying from any of the new guys. All right, let's take a look. Okay, this is just a bunch of packing material. Here's the goodies. Damn, there's a lot of stuff in here. You know what? Let's get this shit out of the way. God, get this fucking box out of the way. Get this shit out of the way. Damn. Gotta learn how to recycle here. Okay. All right, guys, here's the goodies. Another thing you'll get with James Warhola is a lot of writing. He loves to write, and he has very beautiful writing. And you can tell he's like old-timer. That sounds like a put down. No, I mean, he's an older guy, right? But he's got sort of this older writing style. Okay. Let's get in here. Using my trusty tool. Yeah, so I'm almost done buying art. I'm really excited to not have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars on this shit. Which actually plays into today's topic of envy. We've got to talk about envy. I think envy and gluttony are like the biggest problems with the community that we operate in, Garbage Pail Kid community. All right, let's see what this says here. Okay, this is incredible. This is incredible. Okay, so one of the pieces you're fixing to see is Chalk Boy. Okay, so now, yeah, the reason I bought the rough, and I didn't tell him this, I bought the rough because after the Philly show, or whatever the fuck that show was, the last show, someone posted, I think it was Chris Koenig, posted a picture of all of James Warhola's art, and the color rough of the chalk one was incredible. In fact, it's one of my favorite Warhola pieces. But if you look at the final art, I didn't buy the final because to me the final doesn't look good. But if you look at James Warhola's final of Chalk Kid, it's very forgettable. There's like no charm to it. It's boring. But right here, he even talks about it. The Chalk Boy color sketch, which is absolutely better than the final art. So I figure it sometimes happens with art directors' input that is not so good. Wow. So this is cool. He just confirmed that he thinks it's better than the final art. That's really cool. Like, I never told him that. I never told him why I was buying it. But that's exactly why I bought it. Now, this is the Goldilocks final art. Let's actually start, since I'm talking about it so much, let's start with the Chalk Boy color sketch. So, guys, I want you to think back to, I think it's brand new series. You know, I don't know which brand new series it is. There's a Garbage Pail Kid of a chalkboard, and there's a guy holding a piece of chalk, and he's snapping it. He broke it. You know how back in the day you would make the irritating chalkboard can't fucking talk today. Chalkboard screechy noises. That's what it looks like is happening. I think that was the gag, but it snapped them in half. So if you can think back to that piece, compare that to this. Oh, here it is. I'm going to say 10 times, at least 10 times better than the actual final art. Now the fingers are rough, but look at the shading. Look at first of all, it just looks like chalk. Like on the chalkboard, to me, it just looks like chalk. It's got a little perspective to it. The kids even has more detail. Again, the fingers are rough, is what it is. We're also learning this was fucking a decade ago. I can't believe brand new series was a decade ago. Yeah, this is incredible. I'm so glad I bought this. I almost didn't buy it. And I can't remember this kid's name. Maybe it's on here. Here it is. Again, when you buy from Warhola, you're going to get a lot of writing. And he handwrites his certificates of authenticity. Chalky Chester. Look how there's two autos on here. Another auto. That's another thing. He's very generous with his autos. All right, man. Yeah, just as you can see immediately, this is way better than the final art. Graphically, just in every case. I mean, texture, just shading, everything, coloring. Just really cool piece. All right. So I've got a final art coming up though. Let's put him there. Chester is his name. Got that in. Yeah, when you buy from James, expect a wall of writing. Beautiful handwriting. I'm even noticing his envelope is handmade. He made this himself out of paper. That is very James Warhola. He makes everything. So this is something he made out of drawing paper. Isn't that cool? And did you notice the just even the sleeve is all like, you know, custom. He's got writing on there. All right, cool. Let's get to the final. Now, after we look at this, I'm going to go over the deadly sin of envy and how it affects Topps, the community, and us collectors. But yeah, save that bullshit for the end. Let's look at some fucking final art. Yeah, you can see right here, this is handmade. See how that's cut different than that. I mean, what's not to love? And it's funny, now that I think about it, like when I'm dealing with him, he always needs like extra time. And the reason is because he has to write all this shit out. Okay, here's the paper that was inside. And I don't know this kid's name either. Certificate of Authenticity, Goldilocks, done by me. I think he doesn't even know her name either. I've said this about Warhola before. You know what I think is going on? He is very attached to his artwork. I've noticed that. I've actually encountered some pieces that he has that he doesn't want to sell. And I've done some things where I was like, you know what, James, you better keep that one and let me get this other one. Like I'll like kind of like go around some artworks to get to the ones I really want, because I know he's so attached to these. And another evidence of that is he doesn't usually call them by their names. I'm actually surprised to see Chalky Chester written out. He usually just says, oh, Chalk Kid, Goldilocks Kid, Lava Lamp Kid. All right, let's take a look. Let's put this writing over here. Oh, goodness. James put a lot of work into that. Oh. You can see it. This is my last Warhola piece I'll probably ever buy. Oh, it's a stunner. Guys, this is not a piece that you probably look twice at in this set. It's pretty forgettable. But listen, okay, here's the deal about this piece. Imagine this in a frame in your house, like where your wife walks by, your children walk by. This is a real, like, this is like someone who's like me, who's near 50 years old, who's probably eventually gonna have grandkids. This is a piece I can put up in my house. Yeah, there's a lady who's been decapitated and her arms cut off. There's a little bit grotesque elements to it, but at the end of the day, it's a family. It's a fairy tale, or whatever you call that, you know, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This is something, you know, in the Garbage Pail Kid world, this is like a pretty forgettable piece. But as someone who has an actual life outside of this, this is something I can frame in my house. And people that don't like Garbage Pail Kids will like this, you know what I mean? Because it's just something that we recognize. Oh, it's Goldilocks and Three Bears. Some people even have something like this in their home. Yeah, but I love this piece. One thing, just on a very personal note, the reason I got this is because this reminds me of my wife. And I told you guys this. Let me see if I can grab it real quick without breaking the shit. One reason I've always loved Smelly Sally is it reminds me of my wife too. And so when you look at these, look at that. Look at that. And you know, I'm never going to own Smelly Sally. It's owned by Peter Garcia. You know, I told you guys I'll never call out another collector. The reason I can say Peter Garcia, well, first of all, he has the best Garbage Pail Kids collection in the world. He'll never be beat. But second of all, he's not a collector. He just has the best collection. All right. Oh, and my only point is he owns this artwork. So I'll never own that, right? But I could buy this. All right. Wow, what a great piece. Again, this is not my first pick, of course. This wasn't the one I was dying to buy from James Warhola a couple of years ago. I'll show you that one real quick. Of course, it's out of reach. I'll have to put you down. Not prepared today. Give me 1 second. Oh, and let me say one more thing. You know what's cool about this? This is my first sideways piece of Garbage Pail Kids art. I'm so excited. Like final art. I have some, like this one sideways. If you don't know, that's by Martin Newgard. Newgard, Spiegelman. All right, anyway, let me get to Warhola. Now, this piece was finished by Warhola. Get this fucking glare out of here. But you know, that's a bunk. Bunk got fired, right, from that piece. Given to James Warhola. All right, let's get to yeah. So the piece the pieces I had to have from Warhola, I had to have something from this kid. And you know, he calls this pirate kid. He doesn't know the name of this character. And my point to that is, I think he gets so attached to him. If he'll not call him by name, it's easier for him to get rid of him. So he keeps them at arm's length by not learning their actual names. But that's Justin Timberlake. He's basically the first modern GPK. Because he was the mascot of All New Series 2 when they basically rebooted the whole fucking series. Yeah, that's cool, isn't it? So I'm just showing you some Warhola real quick. Now this is Vampire. He's one of my name kids. He's also the only Van character I had to have. And this is all he has of Vampire. Now this is a sideways kid, but you know, it's not the final. That's charred coal. Fucking amazing. You know, if you watch this live stream, you can go back and find it. I actually almost choked, like I choked up when I saw it. This is one of the few pieces that actually choked me when I actually saw it. And you know what? I was responding to, let me clarify. The reason I choked up, wow, I almost choked up just now, is I can feel his energy in this piece, like how he drew this. Like, it's really dark too. It's like darker in person. It's really, like, I'm talking about the pencil shading is dark. Because, I mean, the theme is very dark, right? But you can really feel his energy in it. And, like, that's the thing with art. You want to see people really, like, putting in the work. And I like the smudges. I like to see them, like, really, you know, working their pieces. And this piece is just so dark. And yeah, I can just feel it coming off the piece, you know. But this is a Warhola final. Get to the first one here. This is Sprinkling Spence from All New Series. Beautiful graphic of him spinning around with all those, you know, drops in perspective there. This is a Warhola. This is a, you know, original series. I think his name is Goodbye High or something like that. This is a Warhola color rough. So she would fit into this category of color rough. I spent over a year with James trying to buy the final for this, only to find out after a year of back and forth that he had sold it years ago. But I was able to also get the pencil. Here's Marshmallow, I believe his name is. Now he's also in the color rough realm. That's not the final. But this is a final. So this is the piece I had to have from James Warhola, and I'm so happy he still had it. I had no idea he had it. I assumed it was sold. To me, this is the best All New Series 3 kid out of all 40 of them. I had to have Lava Levi. Beautiful. Alright, so that ends the Warhola there. I actually have some more. I have some more pencils that they're bigger than this binder, and I can't put them in here. But yeah, I'll be happy to add whatever the fuck her name is, Goldilocks, to here. And notice he signed it here because that's not on the card. One thing James does is he'll sign them after the fact. Which, see how he signs them? Which is, I think is very good. You know, eventually I won't be on this earth and people won't know. I mean, imagine if you just found this at a estate sale and it didn't have a fucking name on it. You might not even know this was a Garbage Pail Kid. You might not even ever heard of Garbage Pail Kids. And so it's important. That's something they teach you in college. That's something I've taught all my art students as well, is you always, no matter what, sign your work. Never assume anyone's going to know who made it. Never, ever, ever. Always sign your work. Yeah, sign it twice. Sign the back, sign the front. All right, I'm not going to show you all these today. I just realized it's been about a month since I've looked through these. All right. Well, guys, we have a quick topic, and that is envy. I'm doing a little overtime today because, like I said, I will not be able to make a live stream. I might not be able to make one next week at all. I don't know yet. I might make one maybe on Thursday or Friday, but I know it's going to be, you know, around that time. All right, let me get set up here. Forgot what I was doing here. Okay, let's see. I mean, I don't really need anything. Now, let me grab some cards real quick. That's a bad sound. Okay. Yeah, just personally, I'm still kind of working through the finger puppets, and this could go on for years. Yeah, I like to have things in front of me when I'm talking. Okay. And you have something to look at, too. Look at that. Man. She is now in the GPK toy canon. Wrinkled Rita. Welcome to the category of GPK toys. All right, so envy is a real problem. Like a serious, real problem. Envy, if you don't know what that is, envy is one of the deadly sins. Envy is when, listen, is when you feel sad about someone else's good. Now, someone else's good can be a lot of things, but we're talking about Garbage Pail Kid community here. So I know I feel envy when other collectors get final art pieces in, and you guys might be feeling envy now. You might be sad that I got this. And to me, I am so deep in envy. I am so like I think I've lived almost my entire life suffering from envy. I really do. Like, it's so ingrained in me. And I'll tell you actually something else about this, but I think with Garbage Pail Kids, I think we're in a culture, a collecting culture that is just based almost of envy. It's just envy. Oh, Pea Pear, look at that. No, it's not Pea Pear. Yeah, so envy again is when you feel sad about another collector's good. Okay? So I can just speak for my own self. So again, I feel sad sometimes when other people get final works of art in, because this is one of my categories. Now, I'm not one of the all-star art collectors. I wanted to be because of my envy, but I was not able to do it as a collector. I've got a binder full. I got some pieces on the wall, and I've got a few key pieces, not many. I do have the the cheap toy color rough, which is probably my best piece. I have a pound, got a bunch of bunks and stuff, but I'll never be considered one of the top art collectors, and I just waited too long. Is why that ended up like that, you know. And if you're starting now, you're not gonna get anything, don't, you know, unless it's new. But a lot of this is based off of envy. It's just years of me watching my friends buy art and just it building up and like, you know what, man, I want to be like them. You know, I want to know what it felt like to own a piece of art that was historically significant. And that's one thing about some of this stuff is like, it doesn't satisfy me. Like, honestly, this piece, it's probably never going to satisfy me because it's not historically significant. I don't think many people are that envious that I own this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I bought some fucking, you know, John Pound or anything, but still, you know, there's some pieces that are definitely make people more envious. I think the finger puppets will be one down the line that'll carry a little more weight. So, and the weird thing about envy is it's the only sin, deadly sin, that does not involve pleasure. Like, envy doesn't give you any pleasure. You know, with gluttony, at least you get something good to eat. With pride, at least you feel good in front of your peers. With lust, at least you get to fuck. With greed, at least you get to get rich. With sloth, at least you get to chill. But with envy, it's like there's no pleasure involved. It's actually one of the weirdest sins, and it's described as something that eats at your soul. It's something that you know, is like a rot in your bones. If you ever read Dante's Inferno, the people in hell that had the most envy, they had their eyes sewn shut. That was their punishment. Because they wanted everything they saw. And so their eyes were sewn shut. So they wouldn't envy and covet other people's, you know, gifts and graces and goodness. Anyway, what I'm showing you while I'm blabbering is these finger puppets. You're probably tired of them by now, but I'm just going to keep touching them constantly. I'm constantly up here just fucking touching these things. They feel so amazing in my hand. I think I like them better than cheap toys. There are cheap toys, but like they're, you know, finger puppet cheap toys. There's Alien Alan. Finally got his toy. Put it right there. Look at that. Yeah, so envy is something I personally suffer from. Because I want everything, man. I wish I had all the art in the world. I wish I had every cheap toy in the world. I almost got them all. I didn't quite do it. I'll show you a little thing I'm working on. Now, we have one more sin to go. The sin is pride. But we've gone through all of them except for pride. And we'll get this one on the next video. But what I'm working on, sorry it looks so bad. But I basically just made a little chart here. So you have tops, you have GPK community, and then I put me with my closest friends in their own category. And what I'm doing is I'm rating them. So 10 is the most evil, and 0 or 1 would be just good or absent. So now this is just my quick run through. I'm going to be changing this. I'll be rewriting this so you can actually probably read it better, because this is chicken scratch. But as you can see, my first run through, as far as the sin of lust, I have tops down at 2. I don't think they're that lustful as a company. But the GPK community, for example, I have up at a 7. I think there's a lot of lust in the community. But me and my group, my closest circle, I have us down a little bit from the basic community. But let's look at today's. So envy. So right now I have tops at around a 2. Let me see what my note says. If this says sports versus non-sport. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, so the one place where I think tops is envious is with their sports cards compared to GPK. So, it's no secret that Tops makes a lot of money. Actually, I can grab one real quick. Here's one. Tops makes a lot of money on their baseball cards. Here's an Aaron Judge rookie. And I know they wish GPK made as much money, right? Of course, they're a company. So there is a little envy there. And you do know that there's different people making these than makes these. So there seems to be some envy between the card people and the GPK people. In fact, did you see yesterday where they announced they're making baseball cards with GPK aesthetics? I think that's another sign of a little bit of envy within the company of Tops. Okay, right here I just did this real quick last night. I'll redo all this, and I'll probably have to change the numbers, some of them. So right now I'm just thinking the Garbage Pail Kid community is around a level 6 in envy. I can't even read my own fucking writing here. Let's see. Skateboard. I don't know. I figured it out. Anyway, yeah, so, yeah, there's a lot of envy. God, this probably needs to go up. Actually, but anyway, when you go down here, I have me and my friends at 9. Dude, I think, honestly, that should probably be a 10. I think, me personally, I'm one of the worst envious collectors. And I'm particularly grouped with some people that are just constantly coveting these collectibles. And I think we're more exaggerated than the average collector in the community. I think me and my closest friends, we're just so ambitious about collecting. But with that comes so much fucking sin, bro. It's rough. I know I am. I don't know about you guys. I see a couple over there in my circle and a couple that I don't really know very well. But I know the people I really hang close with in the community. We're some of the biggest glutton, envious, nasty motherfuckers who just want it all. At least that's how I feel. So. Oh, and one more thing. I'll just show you this. I'm tallying up the numbers to see which deadly sins are really affecting the community. Because what I'm trying to answer here is the Garbage Pail Kid community moral? Is Garbage Pail Kids taking us further from Christ? Further from our virtues? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. What I can tell you, basically what you're looking at is just a bunch of fucking evil that we probably need to be working on. Let me get these put where they go here. And part of the reason I'm leaving is to work on myself, man. I recognize that I keep look. I don't feel any more satisfied that I bought this. Really, I'm just gonna say I feel nothing, man. I feel nothing. You saw what I did. I just threw it over here and I went to these and I love the finger puppets. I don't know why I bought this, bro. I don't, man. I have no idea why I bought this. Yeah, it looks kind of like my wife. The head. Okay. I don't know why I bought it, man. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. Why are we buying this shit? Is there a fucking end to it, bro? I buy so much crap that just, like, for a second, it's like, oh, that's cool. But then it goes in a fucking box, man. That's one reason I love small collectibles, is because they're easy to store, because that's where they're going. That's where this shit is going. I'm not going to put this out in my house. Let's be honest. You think I'm actually going to put this in my living room? No. There's one reason I'm buying it. Oh, and the last thing, another thing I was doing last night, you can tell I was pretty bored. Yeah, they have this thing where, who was telling me? I think it was Martin Newgarden was telling me about, where a computer can basically make art now, right? You can plug in some codes and shit, and computer can make art, and it's not quite as good as, you and I can make art, but it can still make art. So I was thinking about, looking at these numbers and thinking about, Tops's numbers compared to our numbers. What would those images generate? So here's the ones I'm working on. I'll redo these. Because, guys, we still have to talk about Pride. We're not done with the deadly sins. We have one more to talk about. But here's just an early sketch. Sorry, it looks so rough. So for Tops, I have a very fat man sitting on a pile of treasure. He's got a mean face on him, and he has a crown. So that's the image I generated from these numbers, from their scores. For the hobby, I have another fat fucker who's even fatter than Tops, sitting on a pile of garbage, probably mixed in some treasure. He's missing his crown because I have the community having only a score of 1 for Pride. I don't think there's much pride in our hobby at all. I mean, obviously. And then for me and my closest friends, I have another fat ass. He's not quite as fat as these other fuckers, sitting on a pile of sitting on a pile of boxes, including a little crown down there. He also has a crown on his head, and he's holding up his finger. And I gotta work on it. Yeah, and he's holding some shit in his hand, like a greedy motherfucker. And what this is based on is, I think me and my friends have a ton of pride. And a lot of other things. And a lot of us like to be kind of like leaders of the group, like bossy motherfuckers, and so that's that. So I'll work on this. Oh, and up here I have the scores. I'm saying 43 out of 70 points is borderline evil. I'm saying Tops is borderline evil. The GPK hobby, just the general, the 3,000 people in our hobby, are somewhat evil at 50 out of 70. And me and my closest circle of collecting buddies, we're borderline evil. All right. So I'll work on these scores, and then we still got to talk about Pride anyway, so we'll finalize this, or I'll finalize this. But I hope you enjoyed that. got some good art in. Always a good day when you get some art in. I just wish I felt more about it, man. Dude, when brand new series came out, I was checked out, man. I was barely collecting this shit. I was heavy on the candy collecting at that time, 2012, 13, 14, whenever it was. So some of these pieces I didn't really fully experience back in the day. Sorry, I just gotta. But anyway, yeah, sorry, someone's texting me. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know why I'm buying this shit anymore. I mean, it's cool to have, right? Maybe it'll go up in value. That's one excuse I think a lot of us are making because we're trying to rationalize our own envy, right? We're going, oh well, I'm buying this as an investment. Oh, this is for my kids. My daughter doesn't want this shit. She'll never want this shit. She's going to sell it the second I die or throw it by the road. I don't know what to do. So a lot of it, you know, we're trying to rationalize it because we're fucking getting old. We're like, oh, I'm investing. That's what I'm doing. I should have never bought these pieces. Never. 1,700 bucks down the drain. All right, you guys have a good rest of your day. See you back sometime at the end of next week when I get back from vacay, and we'll talk about Pride. All right, have a good holiday. Russ Van out. Let me look at this a little closer.